Welcome. This video takes you through the steps that I worked with to be able to work with NAULI. I'm just demonstrating it here at the beginning of the video, both standing and in a moment you'll see seated. And the seated one, I'm taking 27 turns in each direction. And if you'd like to do a follow along practice, I'll put a separate one up. I made this as NAULI's been a daily practice for me for the last 8+ years and offered a really beautiful anchor in my life. But I couldn't see much online that really broke it down, so I hope this helps. NAULI is a kriya and is one of the shatkarmas, or 6 cleansing actions, that can be found in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. It's been linked to several benefits. In my body, I found it particularly useful for waking up my digestion, supporting me to have more embodied presence and control around my abdomen, helping me to have a healthy relationship with my belly, and being more aware of the subtle body in this area. It's also been a beautiful practice in discipline and devotion to show up to a daily commitment. Traditionally, there's 4 stages. I'm going to show 8 that have helped me. These practices should be taken ideally on an empty stomach and avoided if you're pregnant or if anything else is going on that means you don't want to work with your belly in a strong way. That might include menstruating, womb or digestive issues. I have polycystic ovaries and endometriosis, and have found on my bleed I actually found the NAULI practice really soothing, but I skip KAPALABHATI and Agni Sara KRIYA. So what you're seeing in the video now is some KAPALABHATI. This has been broken down and explained really well in other videos, so I'm not going into too much detail. But essentially, we're having a rapid exhale through the nose if possible by pulling the abdominal muscles in and up, then simply relaxing the belly to let a passive inhale occur. And you can see I started off really nice and slowly to feel the contrast, active exhale, passive inhale. Of note, this isn't like Bastrika where both are active. You can speed it up if you can do this without starting to clench the jaw or shoulders, and if you can still feel that contrast of inhale and exhale. Try to keep everything relaxed and as still as you can that isn't the belly. Having the hands pushing into the legs can help with this next part, which is coming into UDDIYANA Bandha. UDDIYANA Bandha, flying up lock. We've exhaled everything out, and without breathing, drawing the belly muscles in and up, creating a vacuum under the rib cage. The diaphragm, the sheet of muscles under the rib, is spreading out, pushing the rib cage out to create that vacuum. I've also tucked my chin here, starting to find Jalandhara Bandha in the energy body, and lifted my pelvic hammock muscles, trying to find Mula Bandha in the energy body. When these 3 locks, or I prefer the word harness, on together, it's also known as the Great Energy Seal. So lifting the energy into the body, moving it up the body and containing it in the body. Again, trying to keep relaxed around the jaw and shoulders. I'm now moving into the next stage, which for me has been the interesting practice of taking 3 breaths in and then attempting to move the belly round one way and then the other. So at the beginning, you can really circulate the hips as I'm showing here. And then when you take your next 2 rounds, so I'll normally take 3 rounds, you could let that movement of the spine get smaller and smaller. So you're starting to bring the belly muscles, abdomen muscles a little bit more in line and trying to get them to move a little bit more independently from the rest of the body. You might be able to tell I've got a bit of a cough today, not the best day to be making this video, but when the moment takes you, you jump on it. And yeah, this just really helped me get more connection with my belly muscles. In a moment, you'll see me transition to AGNISARA KRIYA, or the steps towards this. So for me, the first stage is doing UDDIYANA Bandha standing. So I'm exhaling all the air out as I fold forward, soft knees, and then pushing hands onto thighs. I've shown here just above the knees. Some people find it more helpful being higher up on the legs. You want the arms straight, but elbows not locked, tucking the chin, engaging the pelvic hammock muscles, and creating that vacuum. I'm going to show it from the front view here, just so you can see a little more that vacuum energy. And some people find it much easier to do this standing than the seated version. And I'm just showing here, using my fingers, that sense of vacuum and the muscles that you can feel actually softening in the center as they get lifted up. Muscles on the outside may be engaged. The next stage is repeating this, but once you find UDDIYANA Bandha, taking 3 sort of throws of your belly, where you throw your belly far away and you draw it back in. I'm doing that 3 times if you can. We're not taking any in-breaths here. So we do this all with an out-breath being held. When we need to inhale, we find a sense of an internal smile and come up without any stress to breathe in. That's the same for all of these practices on the out-breath. Here I'm now doing 10 pumps. Obviously, don't go on to the next stage until you feel confident enough with the stage before. And you might go from 10 to 12, 15. A rule of thumb one of my teachers gave me was going to 27 pumps. I'm going to demonstrate now the AGNISARA KRIYA when you're moving in and out very rapidly. I think I was aiming for 27, but maybe there's 20. So you see everything that we talked about in UDDIYANA BANDHA, but now we're bringing in some movement. And again, I'm going to find a sense of inner smile and then come up to breathe in. The stage after you've mastered AGNISARA KRIYA is to start to try and isolate the side muscles of the belly. So you can see here, and I'm moving my hips quite a lot to begin with to try and get them online. What can really help is if you've got a second person to kind of touch those side muscles and help them switch on. And then I also pushed my belly muscles out in which I think looks about like an elephant trunk, and then brought them out to the side. I'll show that again seated in a moment. And then showing NAULI standing. I'm going to do 5 in each direction. So that would be the next step when you've mastered the ones before. So I'll show those build-up ones seated in a moment. The elephant looking one is Madhyana NAULI. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Where the central part is pushed out and looks like an elephant's head. And then the Vama NAULI is when just the right side is moving out and circling. And Dakshina NAULI is when the left side is circling. And then when you put them both together, as I showed at the start and now the end of this video, for me that's how I practice my final round of NAULI in my practice, going one way and then the other. And in my follow along video, I'll show you once I mastered NAULI what I boiled my morning practice down to. I hope this has been helpful. Gratitude to my teachers, Sarah Harlow, Christopher Gladwell and Sam Burkey, who brought this practice into my life, and all the teachers who've come before them.